Picture this, a single spark under a cold January sunrise. Just a carpenter leaning over a stream in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. Suddenly something catches his eye, a gleaming flake. What seems like a trivial curiosity becomes a thunderclap that echoes across continents. Entire towns are upturned, lives are uprooted, a nation's trajectory is changed. But here's the mystery. For all the wealth unearthed, why did so many who rushed for gold end up poorer, more broken, or transformed in unexpected ways? What were they really chasing, and how did that chase reshape not only a territory, but America itself? Today's video dives deep into the dramatic sweep of the gold rush in America. How the dream of sudden wealth became a force that reshaped migration, economy, society, and even our modern financial systems. Stay with me, because the twists are not where you think they are. Before the rush began, America was already restless. Expansionist energy gripped the land. The idea of manifest destiny floated in the air, that the United States was meant to expand westward, to tame new land, to stake claims. Into that atmosphere comes the quiet, almost accidental discovery by James W. Marshall at Sutter's Mill in early 1848. His employer, John Sutter, an immigrant turned settler, had sought to build an agricultural empire in California. Instead, he unwittingly unlocked a gold field that would engulf him. At that moment, gold wasn't just metal. It became a symbol of freedom, of escape, of reinvention. It translated into money in motion. People quitting jobs, abandoning towns, loading wagons or boarding ships around Cape Horn, all drawn by the promise of sudden fortune. This background sets the stage, the discovery of easy-to-extract gold, a population primed for change, and a currency system that still placed high value on precious metals. As gold entered the money supply, as new entrepreneurs sprang up, the financial system and economic expectations shifted. Norwich University online. But the twist lies ahead. For beneath the glitter, fault lines were forming, environmental, social, legal, financial. We'll explore those through the story. Let's go back to January 24th, 1848. At Sutter's Mill, Marshall discovered gold flakes. Sutter reportedly tried to keep it quiet, but the secret was short-lived. Within months, word spread. California at that time had maybe 14,000 non-native settlers. By the end of 1849, nearly 100,000 fortune seekers had arrived. Why did it matter? Because this shift wasn't gradual. It was explosive. The gold discovery collided with migration, transportation, and demand. Ships, wagons, and men surged toward the goldfields. At the same time, California was newly ceded to the U.S. in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 1848, meaning it was in flux politically. The gold discovery hastened its path to statehood in 1850. So at this origin point we have a lucky find, a population ready to move, legal political change, and an economy poised for upheaval. The pieces were all there, but not yet fully aligned. The next phase would bring alignment and then tension. As word spread globally of gold in California, people poured in not only from other U.S. states, but from Europe, Latin America, China, and beyond. 49ers became the icon, the 1849 wave. Some estimates suggest more than 300,000 people came during the main rush. At first, extraction was simple, panning, sluicing river gravels. The gold was visible, accessible. The geology favored easy pickings. A cascade of secondary effects followed. Boomtowns appeared almost overnight. San Francisco transformed from a tiny settlement of approximately 200 in 1846 to approximately 36,000 residents by 1852. Businesses sprang up. Miners still needed food, lodging, tools. Companies like Wells Fargo and Company and others would find their roots in servicing this new, gold-powered economy. Infrastructure followed: transportation, shipping, railroads, mining equipment manufacture. Agriculture expanded to feed the masses. The economic multiplier effect was intense. Here's where the dream seemed to be coming true. Wealth was being created. The frontier was opening. The old economy was being disrupted. But at the same time, the cracks were beginning to show. It didn't last forever. The initial easy gold gave way to harder mining. The placer deposits became exhausted. More capital, machinery, and organization were required. Inflationary pressures emerged. With large sums of gold entering circulation, commodity prices rose. The rush also produced environmental degradation, conflict with indigenous peoples, and lawlessness in the boom towns. For example, the indigenous peoples of California were devastated. The gold rush precipitated another chapter of colonization and violence, with thousands of native lives lost, land seized, ecosystems destroyed. The rush phase began to fade by around 1855 as geological reality and economic cost caught up. Another aspect: many of the individual prospectors did not become wealthy. The big fortunes often went to those providing services, infrastructure, or operating larger mines, not the one-person panna. In short, the gold rush had moved from the wild frontier of individual chance to the realm of organized capital. That transition signaled a breaking point in the dream of get rich quick. The consequences would follow. What remained after the boom? Multiple threads: economic and demographic shifts. California quickly transitioned to statehood, 1850. The mass migration and wealth influx rewrote the map of the West. Social and cultural. As mines matured, some boom towns died. Ghost towns appeared. Many newcomers stayed, settled, and the territories became permanent communities. The character of the American West was shaped by this movement. Environmental and human cost, hydraulic mining, and other intensive methods ravaged landscapes, rivers were clogged with sediment, ecosystems were altered. The cost to indigenous societies was immense. Economic structure shift. The era of individual prospecting gave way to corporate mining. The money, the extraction methods, the risk, all changed. The gold itself may have been found by a few, but the real wealth often came from the spin-off industries. Financial lessons. The sudden infusion of gold challenged currency systems, price stability, and economic expectations. Some regions experienced inflation. The idea that sudden windfall equals life-changing wealth turned out to be more myth than reality for most. In some, the rush reshaped the nation, but with mixed results. A dream fulfilled for some, a disaster for others, a transformation for all. Once the easy gold was gone and the costs rose, what did people do? They adapted, but not always successfully. Mining companies invested in deeper veins, hard rock mining, more mechanized extraction. But those methods required enormous capital, and many smaller operators were pushed out. In the larger economy, people attempted to diversify: agriculture, services, real estate. Some boom towns shifted into more stable economies, but many others collapsed when mining declined. Politically and socially, efforts to govern the boom towns, regulate mining claims, and manage environmental damage were slow and uneven. The lawless goldfield frontier ethos gave way gradually to more regulated systems, but the damage had been done. In financial terms, the idea of cash in hand for gold lost its luster. The lesson: wealth has to be sustainable, not just sudden. But that learning took years, and many missed out or paid a price. Here's the key relevance for today. The story of the gold rush is far from over. It echoes in modern financial, technological, and social phenomena. 1. Tech booms equals gold rushes. Think about the dot-com boom, the crypto hype, the real estate bubbles. Much like 1848 California, we see sudden promise, huge migration of capital and people, and the sense, get in early, strike it rich. 2. Resource booms and busts, shale oil, rare earth metals, lithium. Regions experiencing a rush of investment and migration often face the same issues: environmental harm, inequality, boomtown stresses, and eventual bust or plateau. 3. Financial illusion of windfall wealth. Just as most 49ers did not end up rich, today many retail investors, startup founders, or participants in bubbles may chase a dream but face the reality of risk, cost, and decline. Shocking data point: during the original gold rush, more than 300,000 people arrived in California between 1848 and 1855, over 250,000 by 1852. In modern terms, consider the housing booms. Some counties in the U.S. saw population growth greater than 50% during peak resource boom years, only to shrink later. Or think of the tech startup towns where rents soared, social strains increased, and when the bubble popped, the infrastructure remained, but many people left. Repeating pattern: a discovery arrow mass migration and investment arrow infrastructural boom, arrow exhaustion of easy gains, arrow consolidation into bigger players, social/environmental cost, adjustment, and then legacy. In other words, the gold rush isn't just history. It's a pattern we are living today. 3 clear lessons. For us: 1. The easy money phase is brief and deceptive. In the case of the gold rush, the easiest gold was extracted quickly. Later yields required much more investment, effort, and risk. The early arrivals had the best chance. Meaning, in any boom, being early matters, but so does understanding that the model will shift. 2. Secondary industries often reap more lasting value than the headline wealth. In California, the real lasting winners were those who sold shovels and supplies, built towns, created infrastructure, not necessarily the lone prospector finding a nugget. This means sometimes the durable opportunity lies in building or servicing the ecosystem around the boom, not just chasing the main prize. 3. Unchecked booms carry hidden costs: social, environmental, and financial. The gold rush changed the landscape, shifted populations, imposed massive environmental damage, and created inequality. Today's booms carry analogous risks: speculation, resource depletion, community disruption, wealth concentration, and legacy liabilities. Recognizing those costs is crucial. As you watch today's booms, whether in crypto, artificial intelligence, real estate, or natural resources, ask yourself, is this a new gold rush or a repeat of the old pattern? Are you chasing the flash or the sustainable foundation? Just as those who rushed to California fed the dream, some modern participants may feed the hype and not survive the transition. The past doesn't have to repeat, but only if we learn from it. If you found this story thought-provoking, please do 3 things. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future deep dives into the hidden forces that shape society. Like the video, it helps us reach others who might find these connections meaningful. Comment below and tell me, what modern gold rush are you most worried about? Tech, crypto, real estate, something else? And how do you think it will end? Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep your eyes open, question the promise of instant wealth, and remember, the rush may headline the story, but the legacy lasts much longer.